One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in its soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides onto wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his past one cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Yes, sir. Good morning to everybody. Let's get this show on the road. Mega love and respect to all of you legends, a part of the Breakfast Club, man. We are here. We're having a good time, man. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you legends, man. We've got a very interesting one. We got Hezbollah attacks, 160 missiles launched in Israel. But here's the thing. That's not where it just ends. This is a total call out for war. You guys are about to see what we're about to do when we get into it here in a minute. But first, before we do, please make sure you guys are liking the video. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube, man. As you guys know, it is free to do so. I very much appreciate it. Also, make sure you're subscribed down below. And if you would like to follow me on my Instagram to follow everything behind the scenes of the show, of my lifestyle, everything, you know, and direct messages, all of that. This is where I basically am in contact with all of you at Ball Valve TV right there, man. So I very much appreciate it. Also, during the live, guys, we have all of the super chats and super stickers, channel members, all of that are obviously live shouted out. But if you guys would like to help out the channel monetarily and not have YouTube do its gouging 30% cut, you know, we have these down below. We'll allow those to, you know, scroll for the remainder of the show, and I will be shouting those out as they come in, man. So I very much appreciate all you guys. Good morning, good afternoon. I see all of you legends. Brother Steve up in here. Good to see you, my man. We got Tiffany, and also, really quick, Brother Lee paid for, right before the show, like maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that, before the show even started. He did a $5 cash app for the dues for SNS, Barbie, Tiffany, Lee, and shoot, there's someone else, man. Oh, here it is. And for Tats, that's who he got. So, and I said Brother Steve, thank Brother Steve for that, but I actually meant Lee, because I'm ridiculous. See, boom. But I called myself out even in the chat, man. So good morning, all. Hopefully you're all having a good one. Brother Shadow, hopefully you're doing good. Brother Dean, good to see you as well as Carney's ride. Man, it's always good to see you guys, man. And yeah, I bear a question to everyone before we dive into this. Do you guys think I'm allowed to skip leg day now? Like, do I have that ability? Can I do that without social shame? Just asking a question. You know what I mean? I'm interested. What's up, Gunpowder Nitro? Good to see you, my man. Always good to see you, as well as Snurk, saying she's working and listening. I very much appreciate you being here. We got Coda as well, saying Brother Mike just stopping by. My dad's doc's here soon, so I can't stay. Have a great show. God bless. And God bless you and your father, kind sir. Hopefully you have a wonderful morning over there. We got Dwayne. Good morning, y'all. Driving to my job. Got to try to get this porch and handrail system finished up. Oh, you're still dealing with the porch and the handrail. Damn, dude, you've been working on that shit for a minute. What up, Dragon? I see you, Dragon Classy. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this, man. I always love hanging out with all of you guys and hanging out, but we'll try to do that on the end, you know. What's up, Blair? Good to see you as well, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into this shit, and then we'll go ahead and still pop up all of your guys' comments and all that stuff. So, anyways, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this. We have a three-parter, okay, and this is all has to do with Israel and Hezbollah, okay. This is all of it. 3 videos, okay, and we're gonna be kind of reacting. I mean, I haven't watched all of it in full, but I have watched a little bit of it, and this just happened yesterday. And then there are things happening that are actively happening right now. You know what I mean? Like things that are being reported that I'm going to show you guys that were only anywhere from, I think, like 15 hours or 14 hours ago to just 50 minutes ago. So let's go ahead and get into this. So this is off of Live Now from Fox, man. 18 hours ago. I'm sorry, 18. So this was a humongous, basically kind of like a breaking news part, but let's go ahead and get into this and see what we've got.
And we do continue to follow the very latest developments out
Dougie,
of the Middle East.
Too.
I wanted to head back to that live look of the Israel-Lebanon border as the Israeli military says Hezbollah fired around 160 projectiles into Israel on Sunday. There were no immediate reports of casualties, but the attack comes after a drone targeted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house on Saturday.
Well,
it wasn't clear.
It wasn't his house. It was his vacation home. So not even his house.
The house was hit, but there were no casualties in that attack.
Just having fun.
Israel has meanwhile ramped up strikes on southern neighborhoods of Beirut, where Hezbollah has a strong presence.
Actually,
the region also is very heavily populated with civilians. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has called civilian casualties in Lebanon, quote, far too high in the Israel-Hezbollah war and urged Israel to scale back some strikes, especially in and around Beirut. Israel's conflict with Hamas continues as well, with Israeli strikes on multiple homes in the northern Gaza Strip overnight and into Sunday. According to the territory's health ministry, at least 87 people were killed. The ministry does not differentiate between militants and civilians. The Israeli military says it carried out a precise strike on a Hamas target. The U.S. is urging Israel to call for a ceasefire in Gaza following the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar this past week.
Good morning, Joseph.
Neither Israel or Hamas have shown any interest in such a deal after months of negotiations went nowhere. The United States is meanwhile investigating an unauthorized release of classified documents that assess Israel's plan to attack Iran, according to 3 U.S. officials. A 4th U.S. official said the documents appear to be legitimate. Now, the documents are attributed to the U.S. Geospatial Intelligence Agency and National Security Agency, and also is marked top secret. They indicate that Israel was moving military assets into place to conduct a military strike in response to Iran's ballistic missile on October 1st. To speak more on this, I do want to bring in Caroline Glick, who is the senior contributing editor of Jewish News Syndicate. And
okay, before we get into her, really quick, what I want to be able to do on this real quick is we're going to go ahead and move over real quick just to be able to show you guys what Hezbollah is. Okay, guys? So some of you guys don't know who, there's a lot of different terminologies, different nuance, especially when it gets into the Middle East. It can get very dicey with this kind of shit. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of read to you guys what this is, just in a very summarized way. So Hezbollah, in Arabic, I can't even pronounce any of that shit, obviously, but it is a Lebanese Shia Islamist political party and paramilitary group. Hezbollah's paramilitary wing is the Jihad Council, and its political wing is the Loyalty to the Resistance Bloc Party in the Lebanese parliament. Its armed strength was assessed to be equivalent to that of a medium-sized army in 2016. So these guys were founded in 1982, by the way. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of okay, this is who they are, so you guys know who we're talking about, because there's a lot of conflict, obviously, going on in the Middle East and can be very easily lost in translation.
Also the host of the Caroline Glick Show on JNS. Caroline, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Sure, my pleasure, Stephanie. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I do want to start with the very latest attacks by Hezbollah, the missiles, but also the assassination attempt against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. What can you share with us?
Yep.
So I can share with you that the missiles actually caused significant damage to the Netanyahu home in Caesarea. He and his wife were not home when it happened, but it wasn't a missile; it was a drone, and it hit his house and it got through the missile shield. But he has, reinforced windows, etc., at his home, and so that was why they didn't penetrate. But it was significant damage that was caused to his home as a result of that strike. And I think one of the most alarming aspects of it is that this was.
Oh, and also something that I should do that I did. I got something that is very kind of like rare for me. You know what I mean? It's kind of rare. Usually people like to do it live onto the show. So I want to make a special shout out really quick. I'm going to go ahead and pull all this up and get my activity here because I got an off stream donation, man. 2 of them from the same person, man. And Joseph, I can't thank you enough. Joseph, I don't want to dox your last name, but I want to thank you for sending me, 2 $10 spots on the PayPal. I believe that was yesterday they came in, and I was sitting on. No, it was the day of the game. It was Saturday, I believe, and yeah. So I very much appreciate that, man. That's humongous. So I very much appreciate you.
Really crossing a major red line. You can imagine how the United States would react if the Biden home in Delaware were attacked by an Iranian drone. There would be, B-2 bombers in Tehran within several hours to attack the home of Khamenei or whatever else was on the list. Here, not only did the United States not call Iran out, they didn't condemn it at all. They didn't, neither Kamala Harris nor Joe Biden called Prime Minister Netanyahu to express their revulsion at what had just happened. They didn't condemn the action in any way. In fact, they've said nothing at all. And it's almost, it's more than 36 hours after it happened. No comment from either.
Which is true. And what's crazy is that was 18 hours ago or whatever we said it was, right? And so, let me see. It was 19 now. So, okay. So at this very moment, Biden or Kamala Harris hadn't spoke out, and they still haven't, by the way. I mean, I actively watch the media like a freaking hawk. I mean, I just do, as I am in this business, right? And yes, this is the Beezer shirt, by the way. You know what I mean? You think that I don't fuck around? Yeah, man, I don't fuck around on these parts. You see, I even got a Beezer flask, yo. You know what I mean? Stop the cat.
Stop the cap.
I don't play in these parts, you know what I mean? We got Brother Shadow gifting out a membership, man. Thank you so much for that, man. I very much appreciate that. Man, you guys helped out so much. Big shout out to all you guys in the Breakfast Club that helped out so damn much. And the gifted memberships that you guys did on the membership drive. I can't thank you guys enough, man. That was the most successful, most radical thing I'd ever actually witnessed, man. I can't thank you guys enough. I get beside myself, on shit like that. So I'm very appreciative.
President Biden or Kamala Harris. Instead, as you said in your intro, what they're doing is trying to get Israel to scale back our offensive operations against Hezbollah and Iran in Lebanon. And by the way, they really are unified now, because after Israel was able to eliminate Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah and 2 of his appointed successors in rapid succession, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps just said they were taking direct control over Hezbollah. So all the fig leaves are gone, and now Iran is just acknowledging that they totally control all aspects of Hezbollah's terror operations and their military operations against Israel. And yet the United States has nothing to say except that Israel should scale back its offensive operations against Hezbollah, Iran, and Lebanon.
And so, Caroline, I want to ask you about that, the lack of response publicly.
That's a good question. So my mom, no, I keep her, believe it or not, I keep her in the dark because she wants to be in the dark. She doesn't want to hear about the radicalness in the world. This is a good question. She doesn't really want to hear the radical shit that's going on in the world. She would rather be peaceful not have to think about what's going on. She's like, and there's other people that can do that for me. And she's like, you're one of them. So if you tell me that we need to do something, I believe you. You know what I mean? My dad is very politically involved. He always has been. I was raised, underneath him, obviously. And so a lot of my thinking processes come through my father. But he is not as politically involved as I am, obviously. Like he will be in tune a little bit, and I keep him in tune with the shit actually now. And now it used to be the other way where he would keep me up to date or whatever the case is, but now it's kind of like turned. But hey, I'm in the business, it has nothing to do with actual like life experience. It really has to do with like how much actual experience you have. And like I dive deep into this shit every day. Like I know what I'm talking about,
The fact is, you mentioned that President Biden and Vice President
Barbie.
Harris have not publicly commented on this assassination attempt against Netanyahu. What does that signal to you in terms of perhaps the U.S.-Israel relationship? It has been fractured for quite some time. What does this signal, if anything, to you?
I think that the United States has a very different strategic goal in mind than the one that Israel has. Israel's goal is very clear. It's to win the war by defeating our enemies. And, all of these enemies on 7 fronts are all controlled by Iran. Iran is the real enemy, and everybody else is operating as Iran's proxies. They share Iran's goals: Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, etc. They all share Iran's goal of annihilating Israel. But they're
no, I don't. The truth is I don't, you don't need to be sitting here on this side of the fence and being like, they're the bad guys over there. Like, honestly, just allow what they're doing to speak for itself. You don't need, if it comes from you, it's being biased. You know what I mean? It's 100% biased when you say that. So just allow them to do what they're going to do. Don't be biased in the media.
Paid for by, they're financed by Iran. They're armed by Iran. They're directed by Iran. They're supported by Iran. And the Biden administration has a very different goal. They don't want Israel to defeat Iran and its proxies. To the contrary, they want Israel to reach a ceasefire that leaves all of them intact, whether it's Hamas in Gaza or Hezbollah in South Lebanon, or the Iranian regime in Tehran, or the Houthis in Yemen, that are all controlled by Iran and the regime itself. Again,
yes, Netanyahu.com, right? No, I'm just kidding.
States,
that's hilarious.
Has made it absolutely clear in dozens of different ways that they don't want Israel to cause any significant damage, any strategic damage to the regime after they shot 200 ballistic missiles at Israel, at both civilian population centers and at strategic military and intelligence sites throughout Israel on October 1st. And then after Israel was able to interdict and intercept about 85% of those 200 missiles, with 30 of them falling and causing damage to a lot of places, the United States then took credit for intercepting those missiles when they only shot up 12 interceptor missiles, so that they're trying to hog credit for Israel's achievements.
Listen, even if that is the case, right? Like, let's just say that is the case, right? Why wouldn't you just allow America to just say that they got the W? I mean, we don't like fund them cash money, but we give them plenty of fucking resources. Like, we give them plenty of shit, like, and our backing of us, dude. Like, why would you like, you're belittling the United States to United States woman and the United States press about Israel when you guys come to us for aid and look, you know what I mean? Like, so it's a bad look to do that. But
and then say that Israel isn't allowed to take any offensive action against Iran. It's very troubling. And I think, again, just as there are actions in Gaza, there are actions in Lebanon, there are actions regarding the Houthis in Yemen, etc. They all speak to the same goal, which is that the United States has maintained allegiance to its strategic goal of realigning the United States away from Israel and its traditional Arab partners in the Middle East on behalf of a...
It's really interesting. I don't mean to get in pry, but I'm very interested. You can just direct message it to me if you don't want to say it. But how old are your kids? And saying that your 10-year-old granddaughter follows the U.S. and Canadian politics. Here's the thing. Zoomers and Gen Alpha, they both are very, very involved in politics right now. I don't know why. They're very, very like in tune which is I'm not going to say that they're in tune correct. I mean, they don't know how to decipher both sides yet. But yes, it's very interesting to see that the younger people are getting involved. When it used to be when it came to politics, it used to be kind of like an older guy's game, kind of thing. But it's very interesting how that it's kind of changed over the course of time, huh?
Of some sort of relationship with Iran, which seeks the annihilation of the United States of America as well. So they're trying to appease the mullahs in Iran at the expense of Israel. And that is at the heart of
What up,
all of the
Rebecca? Good to see you.
disputes with the Biden-Kamala Harris administration over absolutely everything that Israel has done to defend itself and to defeat its enemies since October 7th.
And I do want to ask you that because there is an unauthorized release of classified documents detailing how Israel might strategically act against Iran. What do you make of this classified documents leak?
Well, I'm horrified by it, but not surprised, because starting with the Obama administration, you had the same team running U.S. policy in relation to Israel and Iran and the Palestinians and Hezbollah. And we saw as early as 2012 that the Obama administration, again, staffed by many of the same people who are in charge of the Biden-Harris administration today, leaking information about Israeli operations in Iran, whether it's the computer virus that Israel, jointly with the United States, was able to use to penetrate Iran's centrifuge plant at Isfahan, or other things, and also Israel's offensive plans to attack Iran's nuclear installations in 2010. I mean, the United States has a long record.
I'll tell you why the kids are super involved in this shit now. And I mean, it's information warfare, right? It's because politics got so glamorized and shown in the streaming media, meaning us guys that do this shit. It really does have a real influence. Like, you have like these major streamers, whether they be someone like of an Andrew Wilson on what I would say on my side, and then you have guys like Destiny and all these other creators, Hutch, and all these fucking guys that made it very popular because it came from gaming. It's very interesting because I came from that same pool of people. We all kind of came out from gaming and live streaming gaming back in the day, and now we're all into politics. And so naturally, I think that influences society.
Of leaking to the U.S. media and to other places Israel's plans to attack Iran, or Israel's operations to undermine Iran's progress towards nuclear capabilities, military nuclear capabilities. So it's horrifying that this is happening. But you have Ariane Tabatabai, who is the chief of staff of the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Low Intensity Warfare and Special Operations. And she was exposed a year ago as having served as effectively an agent to the Iranian regime when she was working for a think tank in Washington. She wanted to clear a possible trip to Saudi Arabia and Israel with her Iranian Foreign Ministry IRGC minder. So, I mean, and then, years later, she gets appointed to this highly classified position in the Pentagon, where she has information not only about all of Americans' special operations in the world, but also American partner militaries' operations. So she's also a reserve officer in the U.S. Naval Intelligence Service. So, I mean, it's stunning that she was exposed a year ago, and rather than being denied a security clearance, she got her clearance expanded, and she got a promotion. And
so Steve is right. He says any people who have been fighting over religion for thousands of years are worthless to me, 100%. Just my humble opinion. Here's the thing. When there's a happy middle ground here, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease, yes. But also, if you're always involved in conflict, it's kind of hard for people to feel bad for your conflict when you're always in fucking conflict. Now, if we are out of conflict for 50 years and then there's fucking mayhem for you, now people are going, holy shit, let's get involved, or whatever the case is. But yeah, it's kind of hard to feel bad for situations where it's just over and over.
And so you have her, and you have Philip suddenly I forgot his name, as Kamala Harris's national security advisor, who is also under suspicion for his ties to the Iranians. That Congress, I mean, the Senate has asked for information, and the administration is refusing to provide.
Man, I'm sorry for pausing this shit back and back because you guys are just so good in the chat right now. SNS said, Barbie, I had to quit watching the news. There would be nothing left of the TV and probably the room. Here's the thing. Honestly, I mean, would you guys say that I'm 100% up to date with like what, I mean, if not 99%, right? Like I'm very up to date when it comes to the news. I don't even have cable. Like I want you guys to know that I don't have TV. I don't have any of that shit. I have the internet. You know what I mean? And YouTube live streams literally fucking everything from every news source that you could ever fucking have, any channel, all that shit right here on YouTube. So I don't know why people spend like $150 a month for stupid ass cable.
Congress with it, or the Senate with it. And, and he's supposed to be Kamala Harris's Secretary of State or National Security Advisor if she gets elected. So, I mean, you're looking at a situation where it's not just at the senior and mid levels. It's also junior staffers who are deeply anti-Israel and pro-Iranian, and they leak and they talk about leaking and they talk about their hatred for Israel. And every time that they think that the administration is supporting Israel too much, they throw a fit and they leak to the media that there are all of these junior staffers who oppose it. So I mean, I think that the list of possible leakers is long and it's expansive and it goes across all the levels of this administration. And it's very troubling because on the one hand, Biden wants to have all the information about what Israel is doing, and on the other hand, we see this pattern of leaking information that Israel shares with the Americans. Now, in the case of the documents that were leaked here, I mean, this is the satellite imagery that the Americans pick up. You know, when they're monitoring what Israel does, what's happening at our Air Force bases. So Israel can't block that. But I mean, in terms of sharing the targets of an intended Israeli strike against Iran, I mean, it seems to me that it's foolhardy for Israel to think that information that it's going to share as an ally of the United States in relation to its planned operations in Iran would be compromised given the situation.
I want to switch gears and also talk about the fact that Hamas is now seeking a new leader after Yahya Sinwar was killed. Where does this leave Hamas? Where does this leave the conflict between Israel and Hamas?
Oh man, wide open.
No, I mean,
this is 19 hours ago now, and so this is about to be over. We're going to go into the second video here in a second. This is all shit that's leading up to basically right now. You know, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse, like I'm going to present, where they're literally calling out war. Just wait.
It'd be too early to tell. I mean, it would seem that after they've had the whole top layer and many of the mid layers of their structure as a terrorist organization and as a terrorist military, annihilated or eliminated by Israel over the past year, topped off with Yahya Sinwar's elimination last week, that there would be more of a willingness of Hamas terrorists to put down their arms and to release the hostages that they're holding alive and dead to Israeli forces in Gaza. We have seen some movement in northern Gaza, in Jabalia, which is a place that the United States is trying to constrain Israel's operations by threatening an arms embargo against Israel if we maintain them. But we see that there is a movement towards leaving Jabalia, which is the battleground by many people. They're not going where Israel wants them to go, which is to the seacoast, but they're wandering around the city, which is why it's more difficult to end the battle victoriously. But all the same, right. You know, we are moving forward with our operation there, and there is movement among Hamas operatives to obey the IDF and leave the battlefield. We'll just have to see where it leads. We just lost a brigade commander today, a tank brigade commander today in Jabalia in northern Gaza.
Very true.
When
that's
his tank
100%
was attacked by an IED. So that was our That's a 4th brigade commander we lost. We lost 3 of them on in the fighting on October 7th. This is the first one in battle since then to be killed. But that's happening. And this is a major battle, and the Americans are doing everything they can also to undermine Israel's operations there.
Wow. What
Caroline,
a
we
fucking
do
thing to
appreciate
say. Saying America is doing everything in their basically everything in their power to fucking get in the middle of that. Very interesting. So, really quick, I wanted to say something before we hop into the next video. Barbie says we have cable because our online news is very restricted. I can't see any news on Instagram or Facebook. Canada, US fighting about online content. I can't even watch Canadian news. I didn't know that you guys were like commie China over there, where they literally restrict what the fuck you're allowed to see. Incredible. And it's incredible that it happens. You know what I mean? That they try to control the internet, because there are always ways around it. I mean, shit, you're doing it right this second. You know what I mean? Watching me. So it's very interesting how that shit works, and hence why the mainstream media is a walking L. You know what I mean? And we out here doing the real deal thing. You know what I mean? We actually report what is actually out there right now. So next one, guys. All right. So we're moving on. This is 2 hours ago. Okay. Israel promises imminent attack on Lebanon, warns civilians to leave. Off of Live Now from Fox. Let's go ahead and see what they've got to say.
Good morning to you, Ken. Always a pleasure.
Good morning, Janae. Glad to be with you again.
So a lot to dissect. We are learning Israel is promising imminent strikes on Lebanon, and we've seen these ground incursions within the past few weeks there in Lebanon. As IDF, they are working to eliminate the terroristic organization of Hezbollah. If you could catch us up, please.
Sure. Hezbollah has tunnel systems all along the area close to the border of Israel. And so the ground incursion is kind of a slow penetration into that area because of the possibility that of encountering Hezbollah forces there. And so a lot of air activity to try to soften up the ground there before going into that area. Additionally, selected targets throughout Lebanon, to include in Beirut itself, is being struck to be able to hurt Hezbollah in ways other than just attacking their forces. Their intelligence headquarters is a good example of that. That is a selected target. The attack against Nasrallah 2 weeks ago, that is another example of a selected target inside Beirut. That shows the ability of the Israeli Air Force to be able to hit at a...
Check it out right now. This is only 2 hours ago. Israel promises imminent attack on Lebanon, warns civilians to leave.
Specific location.
Ken, we are also learning that IDF did attack Hezbollah's intelligence headquarters. And I love to put this into perspective as it relates to news when this escalation first happened, when we saw the pagers and all of that. Break that down, because there are rumors circulating this morning that the intelligence of these terroristic organizations, such as Hezbollah, Hamas, and even Iran, far surpasses the intelligence of Israel. Is that true?
So Israel has an excellent intelligence service. They are world renowned for their abilities. So I do not believe that Hezbollah has a better intelligence service than Israel. That's just...
No, I wouldn't necessarily say to the same level, but I would say they definitely have intel. You know what I mean? And I don't care what it is. They can fuck you up. You know what I mean? Don't think that you're indestructible. No one is bulletproof. You know what I mean?
Just not likely to happen at all. But what is true is that Hezbollah may have agents penetrated into Israel, providing information from the ground there. And that is concerning for the Israelis if true. You also have seen a couple of examples where Hezbollah has had people starting to carry backpack bombs into the area. And so far it has not been successful, but nonetheless a disconcerting type of attempt to attack Israel with people carrying bombs like that. But selecting the target of attacking is the Hezbollah intelligence location. That is a very good target for Israel to be striking at because of the fact that it does provide so much information to Hezbollah about what Israel's intent is. And so you take out the intelligence service, you take out the intent of where Israel plans to attack next.
Right, and I think that further adds to why IDF is encouraging those that live in this area to evacuate, because obviously with what we've seen, Hezbollah hiding inside of people's homes, looking like what Hamas was doing, using people as human shields, and just horrible things as this fight is ongoing. And we know that Israel is asking allies to do more as it relates to financial and military aid. U.S. envoys expected to travel to that area to help with talks. I'm seeing feeds where the U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein is already in Beirut speaking with Lebanese parliament. I guess the question now is, can
hopefully you feel better, SNS. Go take a nap. You know what I mean? Go lay down a little bit. Sorry to hear that you got a migraine. I hate migraines, dude, because they literally cripple me more than fucking my leg does.
What more can the U.S. and allies do, as we are clearly seeing that this fight is nowhere near over?
Yeah, the United States is trying to keep this from becoming a regional conflict. They're trying to hold back Israel with its plans to move into Lebanon there and clear out the southern part of Lebanon. It appears that Israel is telling the Lebanese that are down close to the border that they have to move not only north of Litani, but north of the Awali River, which is about 30 miles inland from the border. So the United States is trying to keep Israel in check as far as their plans to clear out that area, trying to limit how much of the area they plan to actually occupy and clear out. Now, the United States and Israel are going to find themselves in a bit of a problem right now for cooperation because of the leaked documents that occurred on Friday, the United States showing Israel's plans on attacking Iran. And that is going to be a major issue of trust between the United States and Israel. And so we will see how this plays out, but that may cause Israel to ignore any limitations placed on it by the United States as it responds to Iran and as it works its plans there into Lebanon against Hezbollah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually discussing the Five Eyes yesterday that had eyes on this intelligence. So you're giving me some news at this hour. I was looking at different reports and it didn't say that it was the U.S. that released those documents. Of course, with you being the expert in national security and homeland security, of course, you would have that information. But
just too much money and power, too many connections to people, too many hands are in the sauce. You know what I mean?
You were learning that the U.S. actually leaked that information, which is very concerning because then it also puts a target on the U.S.
Yeah, the question is whether this was hacked information or if it was a mole penetrating, say, the Pentagon or somewhere else.
Bruh, it's very simple. You know what I mean?
In the government here in the United States, or was this possibly purposefully leaked to try to stop Israel from its plans on attacking Iran in the way detailed in that plan?
What we need?
By the way, the leaked documents do not show the target. The leaked documents instead show Israel's preparation for carrying out its attack and suggest dates for it. I have not read the documents myself. Those are top secret documents. Nobody should be reading it because reading it is reading top secret documents that have been leaked out there. It could cause people planning to get a clearance at some time in the future, problems in the process of getting that clearance. It would cause you to flunk a polygraph in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ken, what do those consequences potentially look like? Could they come from the International Criminal Court or what? Because when you think of an allied nation like the U.S. and what it represents to Israel, that can really cause some fine lines of
What's up, Dean?
chaos
Good
for
to see
that
you, man.
alliance, especially when you think of NATO as well and the concerns. We were looking at Ukraine trying to become a member of NATO, and they were being told at the time, since they are in war, they can't. But you're seeing people who are already members kind of going against that alliance. I'm sorry, just very concerning to think of that, because I know for many people, they would think that the U.S. will be the last entity to release some documents if that's in fact what happened.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that is what happened, that the United States purposely leaked it, but that remains a possibility.
Okay, you kind of pushed that a little bit. You know what I mean? So, and now he's doing a little backpedal there.
Got to keep it in perspective that the United States has been limiting Israel in a number of occasions. They
as we should. If we're gonna be fucking funding your ass, honestly, at this point, if we're giving you resources, you should have to listen to us. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I mean, we honestly shouldn't be involved in. This is my opinion. Okay, I don't think that we should even be, funding any of this nonsense. But
they told Israel to take the win when they responded to Iran's first attack. They look like they may be trying to limit Israel yet again. They slowed Israel down in its push into Rafah. They slowed Israel down and its push through.
Are we slowing you down when we're giving you fucking resources? Is it slowing you down that our fucking people can't even fucking eat over here? Like, yeah, is it slowing you down?
The central part of Gaza Strip. And so
that was a lame ass
it's not a far reach to believe that might be a possibility. But the other possibility is just simply revealing to Israel that the United States is collecting intelligence on them.
You would think so, Frank. That's a very good question. He says, bro, Mike, but with the prosthetic leg, does your leg callus over so easier to walk? Never. And never actually, you don't get calluses from it. It's a very weird part of your body that doesn't like callus like that. You're not actually doing like friction against, like, let's say the ground or something like that, right? Like you have a silicone kind of like material on your leg the whole time when you're wearing an actual leg. So you don't actually have any sort of calluses, even after years and years and years and years of walking.
And that and sharing it with the Five Eyes, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the United States make up the Five Eyes. Israel's relationship to the United States is strained when their plans to respond to Iran is leaked out and being provided to the world, to include Iran. But again, it may very well have been somebody inside the Pentagon, somebody inside the U.S. government that leaked these documents, or it could have been somebody outside that hacked into the system and got hold of those documents. That's very disconcerting also. All three possibilities are very disturbing that these documents would be coming out.
Very disturbing indeed. And I always appreciate your perspective, Ken, but I was just thinking, if I want to protect someone, or let's say the U.S. in this case, right, they want to protect Israel, but they don't want them to move forward with war. The last thing you would want to do, right, is still put this entity in a position where their plans are known, all because you're not happy with the decision they're making. And that's where my mindset went as we were discussing this. But if we do look at the hacking possibility, I know you said that is a real-time possibility. We've heard of that possibility as it relates to the election right here in the U.S. as well. Former President Donald Trump saying that he feels like Iran is trying to do some things as it relates to the election. So if that hacking is underway, it definitely needs to, we need to get control of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It just shows the fact that the internet was never built with security in mind. When it was started with the idea of being able to allow computers to talk to one another.
Come on, Boomer.
In the event of a nuclear war. and then it built from there to be a very useful tool. And then business saw the internet as a possibility of making money easily. And so a lot of things went onto the internet that probably should not have done so because of the fact that it's not a secure system at the very heart of it. You're building stuff on sand. And so the fact that, by the way, these documents, top secret, they're not on the regular internet. They're on a different classified form. So that's even more disturbing if that's been penetrated.
Ken Gray, always a pleasure. We thoroughly appreciate your expertise and perspective. Before we let you go, anything else you'd like to add? I love this discussion with you.
So, the effort by Israel into Lebanon of trying to clear Hezbollah away from the border has, as we've talked about before, the possibility of
good morning, kind sir.
causing this to bubble over into a regional conflict. In addition to which, Israel's plans on striking back in retaliation against Iran also causes this to be a possibility of a regional conflict. It's my understanding that Russia is moving assets into the area to help protect Iran in that case. And so this becomes very, very troubling about the possibility of this erupting into more than a regional conflict if all
Yes, I am the attachment.
all these things happen.
What up, Randy?
Very
Good
troubling
to see you.
indeed. Ken, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us bright and early this Monday morning.
All right. So that was just 2 hours ago. Now, 1 hour ago, all right, there was this report, and I figured, you know what? We're going to go ahead and present this as well. This just came out an hour ago. Right before I'd gone live, I caught a little bit of the actual main live, but this is only a couple minutes. It's only like 2 minutes and 34 seconds. It's just, let's go ahead and have this conference live from Tel Aviv.
Next to Hezbollah and the ongoing effort to degrade Hezbollah's terror infrastructure inside Lebanon, Hezbollah's command structure has been eliminated. From the leader of the organization to the commanders of the operational arrays, so far thousands of terror targets in Lebanon have been hit, including strategic weapons located in the heart of a civilian population inside Lebanon, which were ready to be immediately launched at our population centers here in Israel. In the last hour, I can share with you details that were released of soldiers of the Commando Brigade currently conducted limited, localized, targeted raids based on precise intelligence inside southern Lebanon.
What's up, homie?
Our troops located a storage facility in the area containing dozens of rockets, also grenades, machine guns, military vests and helmets, and other combat equipment belonging to the Hezbollah terrorist organization. The IDF released details also of its targeting.
What's up, Big Red? Good to see you, kind sir. Much love, honor, respect.
Al-Qad al-Hassan Association last night, Hezbollah's banking and financial infrastructure system. Overnight, dozens of command centers and sites in which Hezbollah's funds were held were hit. IDF shared details of the $50 million in cash, which come every month from Iran via Syria into Lebanon. Israel will not accept the existence of a terrorist military array on our northern borders, intent on harming our citizens, which might initiate another October 7th massacre. For a year now, since October the 8th, 2023, Hezbollah has been attacking Israel without any provocation by incessant firing of rockets, missiles, and UAVs in order to cause harm to our citizens, to impose terror and disrupt our daily life. We will defend ourselves. Finally, an update from COGAT and their work coordinating aid into Gaza. Over the last 24 hours, 47 humanitarian aid trucks were transferred into northern Gaza. There were 114 the day before. 41 were from Ashdod port via the Erez crossing, and 6 tankers of fuel for humanitarian purposes via the humanitarian corridor.
All right. So, after after observing and kind of diving deep into a lot of this shit and understanding the different radical political parties and all of it, man. Here's the thing. Obviously, these are my opinions right here. I don't think that we should be, quote unquote, funding anything. You know what I mean? Anything other than Americans. I'm a nationalist, a separationalist, whatever you want to fucking call it. I like being, about us. It's a nation, us here in the United States. But, here's the one thing that I will say is the reason why I don't have the biggest of problems in the world, right, for Israel doing what it's doing is because, honestly, if the people they're attacking, I'm not really upset with that. I could see the United States being at odds with these people. So they're the same people we'd really go for anyways. So hence why I'm not so upset about it. But I mean, because we also don't get it misconstrued. We don't fund them with like a whole bunch of cash. We don't do that. We actually do it with different types of means, whether it's equipment, whatever the case is. We don't really hand them cash like that. Not like Ukraine. Ukraine, we give them billions and billions and billions and unreal billions amount of cash flow, right? But Israel does not have a cash flow from the United States. They do, but not to an egregious amount like that. Me either, Mike. We need to take care of us first. I agree with this. I agree. I feel that SNS. Hopefully, take an Excedrin or something like that if you can. Get rid of that migraine right away, man. With that being said, man, I cannot thank you guys enough for the amount of support you guys have been showing towards the show, man. And wow, we just got Nicholas up. I don't want to, dox your last name, Nick, but thank you so much. You just sent in $20 over to the Cash App. Nicholas, thank you so much. We got BD at the very end, kind sir. Very much appreciated, always. Mike, we got Doug up at the building saying, Mike, nice. I caught you, brother. Missed breakfast debate for fuck's sake. It's all good, kind sir. In exchange, U.S. gets high tech, medical, security, etc. It's a mixed game. It makes us wild. I don't see us, Dean, getting much that we really, really need from Israel. I mean, yeah, the intel over there to the United States about the Middle East is probably the most valuable thing out of it, but really we don't get shit out of it. You know what I mean? Mike, thanks for helping me set up my channel memberships. Yeah, man, of course. Use them. Incentivize, you know what I mean? Have members only videos, member only lives, whatever the case is, make sure that they're not giving you money for no reason. You want to have an equal value exchange. Thank you for the Breakfast Club, Brother Dean. Thank you for being a part of it, man. It's always awesome, man. Tech stuff, physical, yes, sir. Different religions, different political views, different relationships in different cultures, but we can all learn from each other. That's absolutely a fact, Todd. Guys, I cannot thank you guys enough for being here and enjoying and supporting the show, man. And also thank you, Brother Shadow, for the gifted membership. I very much appreciate that. And all the Cash Apps, man. I cannot thank you guys for the immense amount of support that you guys show to the show. Make sure as we are leaving and headed out, make sure to hit that like button. It's the number one metric of all of YouTube, man. Also, make sure you're subscribed down below. And if you would like to hit me up, we've got my Instagram at BallValveTV. That's where I respond to everybody and all that good shit. And I post everything behind the scenes of my life, the show, everything, man. And some millennial food time, as Brother Steve likes to call it. With that being said, everybody, hopefully you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Be safe out there, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire.